Hey guys, this is chasebt694 playing another game of Twilight Struggle. Playing against Edge, or we bid for sides. He won USA +1. Kind of looking at our hand for Russia. Um, kind of looking at the quick worry spots. Nothing too bad here. We have NORAD, Middle East, East European unrest. So nothing bad there. And then kind of headline wise, probably going to do the Arab Israeli war card. We could go with socialist government and try to go after Italy. So we're probably going to do one of those two things, kind of depending on how he sets up. Um, let's see here. Other things, we do have Middle East scoring, which is probably why we'll go with an Arab Israeli war. But I can't argue with anybody going here. Um, so we do have blockade. Maybe we hold blockade, see if we can um, next round, get decalled, destall back in the deck. Kind of played here. So he's playing Marshall Plan, which kind of made it a whole lot more likely to do the Arab Israeli war. He's setting in, going for it. So we're gonna just go ahead and see if we can take the Middle East. So that wasn't successful. We're going to coup, see if we can get a good coup, and we roll a 6. So good shape in the Middle East. So now we'll have a shot there to be able to score that. But conversely, he's in great shape in Europe. So looking at Europe, he's got the head start because he went ahead and played Marshall Plan. So at some point, maybe we could break into to France and try to grab it. But we're not going to throw. Most likely, we're not going to throw a ton of resources into Europe. So hopefully, win the back and forth, we'll be able to control the western part of Asia. Take Middle East, take Europe. Not Europe. Take Middle East. Hopefully, control Asia. Maybe be able to make a run for Asia and kind of punt Europe. Not necessarily punt it, but if we can just get in, flip France at some point, we'll be in good shape. Just kind of call it even, not throw a whole lot of ops in there, and then hopefully we can get a good start to the third world country. So we'll see how it goes. Looking at this hand, so he plays his Suez Crisis, and he goes into Egypt. All right. So we'll take out the max that we can take out. So take everything out of Israel and 2 out of the UK. So we're going to go ahead, see if we can take Egypt, and just really try to see if we roll a 1. So kind of what we were thinking there is he would coup. Hopefully we'd win Egypt, and then he'd have a chance to. Probably his idea was counter coup it back in Egypt, and then be able to take the western part. And then tempo wise, hopefully at that point we could have started expanding into Asia a little bit. But that's a big miss. Even if we roll a 2, we knock him out of Egypt at least. So pretty disastrous roll. 3, 4, 5, or 6, we would have put influence into Egypt, if not a decent amount. And granted, Nasser's still in the deck, but it would have kept us some tempo, especially now that because we have the Middle East scoring card. It would have definitely helped out there. So plays Warsaw, gets it out of the deck. So NATO at some point could possibly be a play. As it will protect Italy from being flipped over. He's discouraged it pretty well by already bumping it up to 4. But we throw our extra protection into the East Germany and Poland. We overprotect those mainly because of events later in the game. So we know we're not going to throw a ton of influence into Europe. So we want to protect the assets that we do have. So then he throws those ops into the western part. We're going to go ahead and we're going to use this as, because we feel like the coup is important here. So we roll a 6. Nice. So we make up for it. So he kind of beefed us up a little bit, Warsaw. We're going to take some of that back. Comic Con might come out, might beef us back up, but we do need to be cognizant of the fact, some of that influence might need to be put back in, specifically like Poland, just to make sure to protect against John Paul, or even after John Paul solidarity. So, but hopefully, what we can still do is throw in some influence, get a non-battleground here, and then score Middle East. So here's Comic Con. So see what he does with these 3 ops. We'd kind of hoped tempo-wise we would have already been able to score Middle East. If he doesn't place influence, I don't know. So he goes ahead and gets some influence around so we go ahead, we take it on battleground, so that way we have domination, depending on what he does. We go ahead and place some 1 extra into Israel, just kind of dissuade him from placing influence there. I know it's 4 ops. A lot of people don't want to waste 4 ops with Israel, but it's the anchor point for the United States if they can get past Poland, because it can't get touched by Muslim revolution. So he goes ahead and takes France. We'll go ahead and score a measly 3 points for Middle East. If he's got Europe, he's going to score it. Now, he does. He scores it for 5. And I don't really want to play NORAD because I don't want to give him the vent. And I'd rather see if I can attempt to hold it to get it out of the deck. So all right, so looking at our hand, Red Scare, we have Asia. We're definitely way behind in Asia, but we can still take the western part of it. Hopefully, kind of make that even. We do have the Korean War, so we kind of, take a shot at it. Take a shot at South Korea there. But at this point, if I could just throw the ops in there, I would prefer to do that. So we are worried a little bit about defectors. That's why we go with Romanian versus Red Scare. You saw that. Check the discard pack just to make sure that it was still in the deck. Round 2 is like one of those rounds where it's always easy to play defectors. Because sometimes it's nice, as you say, just to have the thought that defectors could happen. But round 2, you can play defectors, and then round 3, they still have to worry about it. This could still get redealt back in. So turn 2 is a lot of times you'll see USA seems to always have it, at least in my game, always do. So the worst thing, especially looking at the top hands, is play Red Scare against defector. It's 4 ops out of your hand. You didn't hurt them, and it just hurts. All right. So kind of looking the rest of the hand. We have you in intervention, so we might play that with NORAD for the 3 ops. Gamble with coming back out. It's a lot of times if it comes out late mid-war, USA will elect to just play it for the event. So, all right, so they're really strengthening up Asia. So we've got to make a push across Europe now. So not Europe, but push across Asia. So we go ahead, we put 2 and 1. We go ahead and take the non-battleground to help protect against the war card. Um, if he pushes on, next to India, we can throw Red Scare. We'll take both of them, and then we'll gamble if he can win the war. So if he has it. So at this point, he's seems like he's outplayed us a little bit. He was able to secure Europe pretty easily. He was able to push up through the Southeast Asia. Uh, he went in and took South Korea. Even though he didn't have the Korean War card, a lot of times people won't do that. But I think he was a little easier to do that since we gave him Japan. So CIA, he plays it just for the one hop. So we still have to worry about it next hand moving forward. Um, so we got to keep that in mind that CIA is still in the deck. And we might just take a gamble with the Korean War card just to see if we can get lucky. So if we can get lucky with it, um, it's an extra point. I'm gonna go ahead and score. So and save the Korean War maybe for a little later. But we've, even if we flipped South Korea, we weren't gonna have the numbers. Just have to bide our time a little bit. So kind of short up the Middle East. We place one in each just to kind of, I don't see him really slamming ops into either place. To take either one of those countries, he's got to do 5 or 6 ops total. I don't see him doing that per se. I see him probably, go ahead and take Saudi Arabia, maybe, um, depending on what he has. But we'll, and then of course, we'll play containment. He'll get one extra op, but we'll, all right. And then we go ahead and secure the rest of the Middle East. So, all right. So through 2 turns, things are already getting locked down pretty quick. So it seems like a lot of ops got played there by both sides. We're kind of command the shape in the Middle East. Nasser hasn't got played, so there's a chance that we can kind of get that out. Maybe flip Egypt. Saudi's obviously much tougher to flip, but maybe a little later on in the game we get Muslim Revolution. So here's Nasser. He spaces it, but it could come out next hand. So he spaces it, but we might be able to get it as quick as next time. So we catch the military ops. All right, so we've got Vietnam, which can land us into Southeast Asia. We have Nasser, which can help us with the Egypt play, and that might be what we do. And then follow that up with a coup. So nice. So it's also going to score some extra point too because it takes one of his points away. So we're up to 7 on the victory track. And then there's 2 ways we could go duck and cover, give him 3 points, and make sure we go ahead and take Egypt, or we could do it. But we can also get military ops points through Indo-Pakistan War. So no one would want to space NORAD. All right. And so we go ahead and go into West Germany too, just to kind of have a little tick mark there, but we couldn't do the social government play into France because we didn't have an intro into France. So this gives us a chance to kind of, you know, have a chance to attack France and then maybe hopefully get to Algeria ultimately. Be kind of a big plus. It's nice to have Truman, so but one thing with Truman we have to be mindful of is don't lose one op. But since we've already got two in Austria, we'll probably try to go ahead and you know wrap that up too. When overprotected North Korea too, since kind of vulnerable a little bit in Asia. So the idea a little bit is to do a little protection since we don't have the country count. So if he does flip a country, and especially um, Asia as for USA, it's not that hard to flip those countries, and it seems to be an easy target um, for turn seven plays for US because you can't coup back. So if they try to do it in the Middle East, a lot of times you just coup whatever they were trying to fix it to try to attempt to solve your problem to win the coup back. Then also like Usuri, uh, thing probably the other big card that you worry about really hurt you in the mid war. So it's never bad to have it be overprotected as Russia and Asia due to the threats that can happen in the mid war. But a lot of times it just depends on how many ops you have and what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of times you don't have the extra ops to get there, but when you do have an extra op, kind of spend the pace to try to throw the op there. Um, Looking at scoring cards, um, as we're at turn three, Middle East obviously was scored, so it's out of the deck. It's not going to be scored again until at least turn seven. Um, but we're in great shape there. So I don't really see a whole lot. But at some point, he flips Egypt, and you just got to hope he doesn't flip something else in between time. So he's got the ability to flip Egypt um, with Sadat removes Soviets card, um, and he's already got one out there. I'll make an easy flip when he's ready. Once again, we still have to worry about CIA still out there, daunting somewhere. So he grabs the quick two victory points. Would be a bad time to go ahead to counter space. So we'll roll five. So no bueno. And then he's able to space the golf. That means he also has D-stall. So he's able to play the scientist card. Then he has a successful space, and then he's able to space something else. He spaces Korean more. Almost surprised he doesn't just throw the two ops and gamble with it. I guess he doesn't give up the military ops. So we're going to go for two victory points here. We miss it. We're 50-50. We'll at least catch the 2 points for military ops, which is potential to it's two victory points. But if we were actually successful in the roll, you get two victory points. So it ends up being a 4 point play, which is more than what we scored in the Middle East, for example. So that's why you'll see some people play the work hard, even in the area in a flip influence is the accumulation of these victory points. So um, so we're kind of punting a little bit in that Southeast Asia region. Maybe we would have should have played that card to go ahead and get kind of a tick mark into that Southeast Asia, so we can attack Thailand a little bit. But what we're trying to do here a little bit is get to Algeria. So we'll see what he does. So he has no other scorecards. All right. So looking at our cards, obviously it's awesome that we have grain sales. We're definitely 100% spacing that. We have defectors, so we know he's not going to defector us. We do have socialist government. Um, and one step can help us on the space track. Um, we can play that anytime. Uh, so some of the tempo here that you're thinking about socialist government is he gets to play. We're gonna flip France, all right, but then he's gonna coup. Um, but then hopefully what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to counter coup his spot that he placed in the non-battle round. So we're gonna go ahead and flip France, and now we're set up to be in great shape. So um, also a good card to go ahead and play at this point in juncture is Alliance for Progress. It's not hurting us at this point. 0 points. He doesn't have anything there, so it's fortunate to get that card early versus later in the mid war when he can score that for a boatload of points, depending on how successful he is in the Americas. We do have Allen Day to help us get to South America, except for urgency to play that card is definitely decreased since he played South America, so that's not going to be scored back out to turn 7. He obviously doesn't have Junta this round, or he would have waited to play. So, all right, so we need to go ahead and take Algeria. And we don't give up any victory points here, which is huge. Um, so we're in good shape. So he's definitely been able to take a lot of the um, tempo in Africa, um, for sure. So he plays Asia. And he was able to score Asia because we played for Mosin. And I still had the China card because we're trying to protect against CIA. So we can't give it to him. So that was unfortunate. So we spaced grain sales, and of course we weren't successful. Oh my goodness! And the DEFCON's at 3. So we flipped to be able to coup, and then he didn't coup, and oh my goodness! Oh, that would have been a perfect time to coup one of those little countries in Africa too. So all right, so anyway, so we are now going to see Algeria get cooed, and hopefully we can get lucky. Um, oh my goodness! So if you were yelling at the TV screen, I'm sorry. TV screen, computer monitor. Uh, all right. So at least we get a victory point. Yay. Oh, so because he rolls a one, so we're lucky there. Um, man, that was just extremely disappointing. Um, looks like we'll probably play defector, so we never will. So he gave us a victory point. We're gonna give one right back. Um, we roll a six. Nice. I cannot believe we missed that coup when the DEF CON was at three. Um, so one of those things, that's a perfect lesson. Is sometimes you can't get too quick. I mean, we talked about how we were going to give up the coup, and it should have, just triggered right away that he didn't. All right, I was gonna go ahead and play this. That way we can keep him from, you know, uh, spacing two cards. Man, all right. So trying to think of, we definitely need to play Allen Day. We knew that was going to happen at some point. Um, Allen Day to get into South America. Um, we also kind of want to play. I think, have Che and kind of as many plays as he's played so far, where he's gone into non-battlegrounds. This is action around six card. It might be a decent play. So nice. So we win the war card. So we get two extra victory points there. So that's pretty key. Um, we're gonna go ahead and play this event as well. Ironically enough, uh, we might be able to push Europe a little bit. I mean, he hasn't picked up some of the country councils that he needs, so we might be able to get sneaky and throw something in there and kind of be in good shape. So we triggered event. One of the things we needed to do, we needed to shore up some things. Um, one of them was Chile. Oh, Central America. Okay. We threw in the extra op into France, just expecting against one of those type plays. So looking at our hand, Long Gunman, Che, Liberation, but the cards we really have to worry about: Voice of America and Panama Canal and Southeast Asia. I don't see any way for us to really get back with Southeast Asia. Um, so, I might just go ahead and punt with that and just, get it out of the hand. Maybe, you know, defectors is already out of the deck, but, sometimes, there's no use wasting an action turn with it. Like, yeah, we're not going to get in there and flip anything. Yeah, so it's pretty safe to say. So just cough it up, lose the 6 points, move on. So we're bear trapped. So we lose our coup. So at least we get there's Voice of America out of there. And we're out at least. So, but he gets the coup. We'll see what he does with it. So he's almost successful, but he's not. So we're able to just kind of repair. We're gonna go ahead and play Lone Gunman, keep it in the deck. Maybe Late War comes out and there's a thorn in the side for edge, going down the stretch. But besides that, we've got some decent ops. Liberation theology can definitely throw a wrench into Central America. Um, De Gaulle's nice 3-op card. The Cuban Missile Crisis is a good 3-op card. Um, I still feel like Chase is going to have some. It's going to have a chance to be a big card at some point, but it might not be. You might have to use it for 3 ops. So we got a good hand. Nothing we really have to worry about here. How he plays this. All right. So we're going to go ahead. We've got to respond. We've got to take Argentina. Pretty much. So we're kind of forcing his action a little bit. He has to respond to the attack in Mexico. Um, so we're able to kind of spread out a little bit. Kind of looking at regions that haven't scored right now. It's Europe and pretty much Africa. Um, so I think he would have already scored Europe for even if he had it. So pretty sure about that. Same thing probably for Africa as well. So he responds by making him respond the way he did. We essentially make him use we gain a victory point. So instead of playing Camp David for the event, getting a victory point, and not having to worry about the war card anymore, it's moving straight ahead. So So it gets rid of a pretty nice card of ours, and at the same time, we now have to see our headline, so which is a big disadvantage. So we'll go ahead and get Panama out of our deck. The counter play actually might have been able to, play and take Costa Rica first, and then play that card and repair it. Probably the play because now we give him the tempo to take Costa Rica, which is probably not the best thing. So he takes the China card from us. But we're going to go ahead and see if we can attack Brazil at the same time. But really, still, the play might have been to go ahead and take Costa Rica, just to also protect against the future. So, all right. So looking at this hand, we can get the China card back with Cultural Revolution. We're going to attack Africa with the South African unrest. We have OPEC, ABM treaty. So we got some big cars. Only real thing to worry about is John Paul. So we're going to go ahead and grab the China card back. Um, he does get to see what we're doing. That's one of the reasons why it's hard to sit there and play. So he plays CIA, so at least we don't have to worry about CIA anymore. Um, and he's probably looking at it going, good googly moogly, he's got to go. So we're kind of really hoping to be able to really press at this hand because of the hand we have. Um, but at that same time, you're looking at it now. You know you're up against it. You know he might be able to be a little trickier and try to throw fires up for us to have to repair them versus us being very aggressive with how we play. So he coos, drops DEFCON down. It's kind of attacking Africa a little bit. That is the one of the regions that haven't scored. So that's why we're going to try to see if we can attack it a little bit here. We went to Zaire because it was, had a little connector, so to help against it from potentially getting realigned is easy. So, other things to consider here. We also have a chance to pick up some victory points. Right now, we could play arms race for a few points. We could also play OPEC for a few points. Um, play Willard Brandt for a point. But probably still use those for ops. So he's cooing. He rolls a 5 with a 4 op. All right, so it goes down to South America. Going to change a whole lot of what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and play Brush War. Nice. So, one counter, maybe to play this would be. So we have to give him Will Bear You, um, which this will be if it's my event, it doesn't count. The event doesn't count, so the event doesn't trigger. So he's safe to get We Will Bear You. If that was vice versa, if we played Missile Envy, USA had gave us We Will Bear You, we would lose right now. But he's safe, and he knew this. I mean, he had um, a free peek at our cards with CIA. So we have to play Missile Envy. We got 2 op card, so we can attempt to coup right now with it, or we can place op somewhere. We can try to see if we can go down there in South Africa, get lucky with the roll. Should have to have a heck of a roll. We roll a 1, so should have placed the op somewhere. Now knowing that we rolled a 1, but it was pretty low risk. Well, we could flip Botswana down there, you have a chance. So he goes nuclear subs, so he can counter at our cooing back in Africa. So we got 2 things to do. We can play South Africa to throw some unrest down there and try to kind of negate some of the things he's doing. Or, so if he coups, maybe we can flip a country. But the other thing that we can do here is you go in and you attack Germany or you attack South Korea, and you have a chance to, um, so he's got to respond to that versus cooing. So if somebody plays nuclear subs against you, um, give them a choice. Give them a choice of, okay, you can coup something, but if you coup something, I'm gonna flip a country somewhere else on the board. Um, so most people will you have to respond. So maybe South Korea might have been the better play to go after, but you know, people get nervous when Germany's getting attacked. Um, we're going to play this for the event, for the victory point, and then we also accomplish the same thing. So we get the victory point, and then he also has to respond to West Germany. Um, in all honesty, the play probably should have been the country to try to attack. Probably should have been South Korea, especially since we're holding the China card too. It would have been a different way to attack, but and especially since Formosa's still in the deck, or still in play, I should say, in the deck. It's a vent that's still in play, giving him control of Asia. So basically, a free card for him because we already have Cuba. So he repairs and overprotects South Africa. So we're kind of, once again, trying to see if we can press it a little bit. So instead of him cooing a country, he's got to go after a country. So he is going to coup. We had a couple of choices here. Continue to put ops into South Africa. You kind of want to hold OPEC for the victory point. And do you really want to throw the China card at basically into South Africa, into Angola, and then he's still going to coup? If we triggered this, might have been the weakest play, but we get a bad card out of our deck. He's still going to go back after Angola. Um, he's going to coup there. At least I would assume he is. But we held OPEC for potential victory points. Because it looks like we might need him. So he coups, rolls a 3. It's okay. It's in the turn. That's done. So good news is we've got Europe scoring. Quagmire, we get to get rid of Voice of America. And we also have 5-year plans, so we can turn in a one-op card into a multi-op card. But hopefully we can get some victory points here. And another thing is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Might go ahead and take the victory points for Europe, or we can play Romania in abdication and then score Europe. We have Junta where we kind of maybe hopefully remove the DEFCON, kind of go from there. Maybe that's the play. Hopefully we can sneak in, get sneaky with Europe. So I think the coup is going to be important. We still have Africa to worry about. So maybe we can play Junta and then push South Africa. So he gets to see still gets to see our our headline card too. So still waiting for him to decide what he's going to do. Just really just sitting here thinking about different plays, headlines. Um, the Romanian application play might have been the play, and we're trying to push on multiple fronts at once. Maybe we can be sneaky with it. But he does have the Africa scorecard, so at some point he's got to take tempo for that as well. All right. So he's able to repair South Africa. So one of the things we had hoped to do was kind of, you know, slam some ops into South Africa and be able to hopefully flip it. Um, but it would have been oh, come on now. So now we'd like to do a couple things. We need to repair, um, or we like to take Venezuela, and we like to repair Algeria. And since we know he has Africa, wouldn't be bad idea necessarily to see if we can grab another, um, maybe non-battleground to be able to, even up Africa. Oh, the rolls a six with three up card. All right, so we know we're going to give up Africa, and I'm assuming he's going to go ahead and score it. So let's see if we can get sneaky. So we go ahead and play that. We take domination in Europe, but he also has. Ah, he gets the three ops real quick. Didn't think that card. Yeah. So we go ahead and score it. He's going to score Africa. We go ahead and score OPEC as well, get those points as well, since we took Venezuela, one extra victory point. So a little burst of points right there. Um, and then kind of looking at what we have now, Voice of America, we're definitely spacing that because you're never playing that. Well, you could play that on yourself. I mean, sometimes you have to if you have a DEFCON suicide card, but you never want to play that card against yourself. Um, and then besides that, we'll wait to the kind of end of turn play the JFK card, and probably a whole 5-year plan, for future being able to get rid of some nasty region like Asia. So, but looking at positions on board, we're okay in pretty much everywhere except for Asia and in Africa. So he spaces Bresnan. We're gonna go ahead and space. He's really finally won one of those. Kind of surprised he spaced Bresnan more than just to go for the victory points. Just because it's a card you play as your last turn as USA. So I'm guessing he did it just to move the space track. And if that's the card he's spacing, that means he's mainly got Russia cards here on out. So we're gonna go ahead and play Quagmire because we want to wait as long as possible for before we play the JFK card. So based off of Bresnan, also kind of makes you think that he's got only USA cards. So he basically played Bresnan as he spaced Bresnan, which doesn't hurt him. Nice, and we get rid of. He has to use Puff of Governance to get rid of it, which. Let's see. We took a shot at it. Trying to see if we could set up a potential realignment of Brazil. Might have been more advantageous just to slam all of those ops into Brazil, to put ops there. So that way, if he realigned us out of Venezuela, we could get back. We'll see though. He didn't really get rid of anything with Asnot, which we kind of didn't think he would, based off of the Quagmire and kind of what he spaced. All right, so he's setting up some realignments. And so the first thing I think of, I see what he did is he's trying to set up realignments. We've got Che. We also have Outer Games, which is nice. And we have South America scoring. So hopefully we're going to go ahead and make sure that the realignments don't happen. Um, oh, no. So here's what I'm thinking. Um, we might not just initially take some of the countries back in Asia. We might go ahead and use our coup in South America, possibly, with the idea that um, we can just get rid of the Asia scorecard if he's got the Asia scorecard. But we gotta. So we knock him out. Let's see what he does here. So if he just goes full hog in Asia, maybe we can take Brazil and then score and kind of counteract what he's doing in Asia. Um, some of this is on the assumption that we'll be able to get our outer games in time to be able to hopefully discard the Asia scorecard. And if he doesn't have the Asia scorecard, we definitely poop the shoot for sure there. All right. So assuming he's going to flip, uh, obviously Pakistan, um, but hopefully we'll be able to. Maybe we get lucky and get the war card, and then be able to flip it back. So we isolate. But then again, we isolate India. So if he gets it, it makes an easy target for India too. So, but it's a little harder to flip the China card than it is for say Pakistan, since he has the China card. That's why we have protected India. So, um, looking at the rest of this hand, we do have Ultra game, so hopefully we'll be able to kind of take care of that. So, um, nice, nice. So that's working out for us there on our misplay of Costa Rica for this whole game. My monitors. We hadn't went and scored South America, but we probably should just went ahead and played Dodger game to get rid of the Asia card. That's what we intended on doing. All right. So now, after if he didn't have it before, see if we can get rid of it. Wow. Okay. So at least we know he's got our cards. So if we're seeing if we can pay for them, make him pay for it. None of those on their own would be things he had to worry about too much. But we can kind of push it a little bit. Maybe we can, make him so he spaces D stall, which at this point I might have played it based off the other stuff. Is where I mean, it's not like it's going to give me access to many regions. Um, so I would have probably played it as an event. I think he repaired that. So we can make him push him a little bit here. See what he plays. So he's got liberation theology. I know he might be able to. He is at that point, I think, too, where he can get rid of a card at the end of the turn, too. One thing to be mindful of here, too, is looking at Europe because, we were able to score it, but we want to be able to keep it for into the final scoring, because it looks like this very well might be a final scored game. We might need to add some influence. So he plays the China card. And he is overprotected everywhere in Asia. All right. So let's see what he's got in his last play here. So don't want a realignment. Oh, he was at a +2 die roll, so that was pretty awful. I rolled a 6, he rolled a 1. So he knocked himself out. Worst thing that could happen. Now he's an even roll there, so he might even try it again. His extra roll. Now that one hurts when you're. That was a pretty decent play because I'm gonna get. Wow, he knocks himself on out, and then now we get some ops on top of it. So all right, so we're looking good in Central America now. That hurt. That was unlucky for him, or lucky for us. Um, yeah, the chances of be having a +2, he's less than 10%. That's about right. So and he gets rid of a card. And now that is my typical odds when I do stuff. It's the 10% things typically happen against me. So um, looking ahead, we have Asia, so maybe we take a miracle shot at Korea. It's a Korean War card. Um, we have KOL 007, which we can throw all 4 of ops into South Korea um, to try to make that happen. Um, and besides that, I mean, it's we're going to give up a couple points for Reagan bombs Libya. It's just going to happen. We're going to try to hold off on playing Iron Man in Tehran, but we're at the space track. That might just have to happen. Um, and we're probably going to actually, I mean, since we'll probably space KOL 007. I mean, it's giving them 2 victory points degrades DEFCON. And at the moment, if we played it without slamming all of it to Korea, and then he would get ops too, which would be disastrous. Um, all right. For that. So we're in their Cuban Missile Crisis, but to be mindful, we can still we're in Cuba, so we can take some influence out of there and still be able to coup. Which would knock us all the way down to one. So we might want to add a little influence back. Was it two or three? All right. All right. So remove the Cuban Missile Crisis so we can coup. We're going for it. Come on. And we roll a two. A three, four, five, or six, and we at least have influence there. Uh, so 50-50 that you straight up take it, and only so we have been unlucky there, but we got lucky in Central America, so we cannot complain. All right. So he took a non-battleground in Europe um, to even that up. So we're gonna go ahead and space this. Nice. So we catch a victory point, getting there. So at least with the Asia scorecard, we get to we can get rid of it with 5 year plan. Hey, so he gets four for that. So let's take our wild stab at Korea. Should we? Might as well take your stab. So we should be able to roll a six, but still give us the 1 in 6 chance. Hold on. Dang you, Uruguay. Uruguay's been tough. Um, Well, we knew we were gonna have to play it. Hopefully, they're all his events. Mm. Worst one of those was definitely Middle East. Take a shot. Roll three. So we attempt this coup one more time. We were slightly better than the time before. And at least we get a shuttle Asia, which is huge. So East shuttle Middle East, shuttle Asia. If I had to choose between the two, I'd say I won. Uh, he rolled a one, so we got a little lucky on our own. He gets rid of Lone Gunman. Man, that is such a huge thing when you get to that point where you can keep the game from, you can discard that card, a hell card. Such a huge thing. Um, we might do one small step. Thank God we got war games. But thank goodness we have Central Government America too. So hopefully we're gonna be able to score that for a bunch of points. Um, so shoot, score in Central America. Europe got held. Asia. Bam. Um, we sitting there. Thank goodness Central America came. So one small step gets us to the 4-2 space, um, which he's got there first. So we get 2 victory points. Then kind of looking at this also, we've got some big ops, war games and NATO. We have the Reformer, which hopefully can do damage. Latin American debt crisis. We know we're not playing grain sales. So he ducks and covers for 3 points. So we get 2 points. Doesn't matter that we cancel his hold and held deal, but honestly, I don't think I've ever played a game where both people were one spot away from the end of the space track. That's pretty crazy, especially since early on it seemed like we failed every time, but we got one small step twice, so that definitely helped. Um, oh shoot, oh yeah, he dropped DEF CON. What am I doing? Okay. Central America it is 10 points. That is huge, 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 huge. Um, so now it's a final 10 instead of being down 10. Well, really counting up regions, but we're on an even game. So we're even game where the board looks okay. We're looking good at Central South America, looking good at Middle East. We're way behind in Asia and Africa, but both those places get flipped. So we can create a little havoc here. See if you make him repay. So depending on what he does, if he just has a 3 out card and repairs the obvious damage, where they're even now, maybe we can take a native flip Angola. Um, it's kind of the idea here. And then obviously we're playing the, and we've got good ops down right down here down the stretch. So hopefully we can really kind of really go after him a little bit. So he repairs. We'll see what he does. We can actually kind of. Oh, nice, nice. Okay, that pulled a card we needed to get pulled for sure. Either grain sales or that. So you're looking at either one of those two cards would have been fine to leave, but one of the other ones would have not been as advantageous for sure. So we're pressing a little bit, go and see if we can press the action in Europe, and hopefully see if we can end up with a domination in Europe. Uh, because right now we've got 12 ops that we're basically going to throw down. So okay, so we're still kind of pressing it a little bit. Um, I don't think turning NATO. Of course he's got there. I was about to say that is unlikely as the one card that probably helps at this juncture of the game. But of course he did. He got 2 victory points. So continuing to press. Went ahead and went to South America, so he definitely has to go there with a big 3 or 4 op card, depending on what he has. Uh, so give us a shot there. He's got a 3 op card. All right, and then kind of my take here is just keep on pressing. So we've been pressing, making use of cards. He hasn't been able to overprotect, for example. So we'll go into Europe with this just to keep on pressing. We can do the same thing in South America, but I think to me as Russia, I learned this one the hard way. Um, is on your last play. Sometimes you have to hopefully don't try to protect all your assets you can. You got to go. You got to attack. So that way that they're using their ops to repair something you did on your last play versus going back out there and attacking you. So kind of my philosophy as Russia in round 10. Um, but it's been a great game. I mean, kind of back and forth. Got the early points, and then Edge came back and took the lead. It was waiting around 10 with a 10-point lead. Luckily, we caught the card we needed to in Central America, and he got unlucky on his realignments of Mexico to help that happen. We missed pace, played Costa Rica for most of the game, but we ended up okay with it. We couldn't ever get Uruguay. Um, our attempts to kind of flip Africa just never, materialized. Middle East was really hadn't changed a whole lot since turn 2, minus the typical Sadat removes the Soviets play of Egypt. So that's been pretty static. Nothing's happened there. And then he did a good job of flipping a country with Uruguay, or not Uruguay, but your Surrey. And so he's definitely had the upper hand in Asia, but we didn't let him completely have it. The space track, it's just crazy. Um, both of us that far along. This kind of shows you, some of the current trends right now in Twilight Struggle as far as playing the space race. I know we got the one card that let us move up 4 spaces, one small step. So that definitely helped out, and we got rid of some big cards. But yeah, that's crazy. You don't see that too often. At least I don't. Um, so it was interesting, kind of looking at the board. I think pretty sure we've got this. Um, I don't know if he had a really good Voice of America play. I'm not even sure if Voice of America is out there or not. I can't, not really 100% sure. But we kept pace, so Star Wars didn't hurt us. It would have been out. So luckily, we also, in addition to that, we got War Games. He's up 10. We get War Games. Granted, we scored Central America pretty quick there and knocked it back down to 0. But I mean, that just as easy could have been, you know, could have been a quick play. He plays duck and cover. I do something different besides play, Central America. Um, at least he's only got 2 ops. Who evens out Europe. So we end up outscoring 21-10. The country counts at the end to take an 8-point victory. Good game, Edge. I know, just kind of thinking back, I know some plays I should have did different. You go back and the missed coup attempt when DEFCON remained at 3. That one hurt. Africa might be a different story if that would have happened different. You catch the lucky realignment roll. uh, where he, where Edge re-rolls himself out of Mexico. I mean, that's brutal, absolutely brutal. Um, Granted, I might have been okay in that scenario, because I still had, he did that with liberation theology, so I might have been able to kind of counter that play. But I mean, just brutal. I mean, looking at it, so it's definitely advantageous. Glad we won it. Feel free to put your comments at the end if you guys have listened to this whole thing by now. Thanks for listening, and we'll hit you next time.